I'm Marisa Norcross.
And I'm Dave Freund, and this is The Next Page.
Hello, Dave. Welcome back. It's our 26th episode, so happy 6-month anniversary to our podcast.
Yes. Is that not amazing? It's hard to believe that 6 months have gone by.
I know. I agree.
You know, and I'm really glad when I look at the total number of downloads. It just, you know, we can tell that people are enjoying it. We're hearing from people that they're enjoying it, and that's just great. I guess that's why we do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that will help people grow, help people develop.
Yep.
So, how's your week going?
It's going well so far. I know you and I were just talking offline about the holidays, so I'm happy to report that just about all of my shopping is done.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, so that's exciting. So now I can kind of sit back and enjoy the rest of the season, which is good for me. And work-wise, a lot of exciting things happening at MACNY. Anyone who's been following our expansion knows that we're nearing the end of that. So I'll actually be moving to the other side, so I'll be further away from you, which is sad. But you'll have to. But
exciting because you're gonna have a nice big space and some privacy, well-deserved privacy.
Yeah, so you'll have to come visit, and any of our listeners who are MACNY members or MACNY friends, stop by. Come come January. I'd say it'd be a good time to come stop by and see our new space. We are excited to have added some member space that our members can reserve and use, in addition to the other spaces that we already have, but we've kind of outgrown our current space, so it's really exciting.
Right. Yeah, and I'm really excited too about that that member space, and I was sharing it with somebody just this morning, a coaching client. You know, a space where they can come in and use things, and when we can have a little bit more relaxed atmosphere, perhaps for doing masterminds. I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah,
that's great.
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing that I'm really excited about that I sense is new this year at MACNY, Marisa, is just more of an effort to be giving back to the community. You know, I know we did the diaper drive. And you had just mentioned before we began recording that you and Julianne are going to be going to do some more volunteering this evening. And I get a sense that you folks have brought some real needed energy and local focus, giving back focus to our staff, and I think that's great. This is it's my third Christmas celebration here, but my really second one as an employee, and I like the fact that rather than doing a gift exchange, we've decided to adopt people at a shelter type place that we could give gifts to. So again, it's this really getting a focus on, it's not what we do for ourselves, but it's what we do for others that really matters.
Yep, and we're actually hoping to engage our membership in another effort for our post-holiday party. So our post-holiday party is January 18th at MACNY, and we're doing a non-perishable food drive to benefit Peace Inc. So if you are planning on coming to that event, just bring something with you. I'm sure everyone's got something in their cabinets, whether it be a box of pasta or some canned goods, really anything that is non-perishable. We're looking to collect. MACNY will be contributing, and we're hoping with our membership we can really make a difference to help.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Because I know especially that time of year, the food pantries and things are really bare.
Yes, they are. Right after the holidays, they get wiped out. Good.
Well, I look forward to that.
Yeah, so segueing into our episode, we have entered your favorite time of year. And
it is my favorite time of year.
For many reasons. It's not just the holidays, but I know you take a lot of time at the end of the year to reflect. So share with us what December looks like for Dave.
Sure. So the title of the post that was sent out this morning is Start Smart by Looking Backwards, which I know sounds a bit convoluted, but for us to be able to start well in the new year, we have to spend a significant amount of time in reflection. And I'm not going to tell people exactly what they need to do, but you need to do something. So let me just explain what I do. And what I've been doing is changing. Every year it changes a little bit. So this is probably my fourth year of doing it. And I will take, so I do try to to journal as much as I can. I try to ask reflection questions, and I've said them before, but I'll say them again. And I'll probably I'll make sure they get into the show notes somehow as well, too. But
Great.
I have typically 5 reflection questions that I try to focus on. I try to do it daily. Some days I do very well, other days I don't. But it's what went well, what didn't go well, what did I learn, what will I change, and what was the highlight of my day. And so what I try to do toward the end of the year is to begin gathering all of my notes, my journal entries, my weekly calendar type things. And so the family gets together, and it's a great time. There's a lot of activity going on, and I try to slip away. My guess is that I'll probably do a total of 8 hours, maybe, where I'm just by myself in my study at home, and I start looking at the previous year. What went well, what didn't go well, what did I learn, what am I going to change? And in my email that went out, the post that was sent out this morning, I shared an idea that I heard from one of my John Maxwell team mentors, and he said that he goes back through his pictures for the year, and then he identifies. He can go back through and look at the events, the people, where he was, the locations, those type of things. And so he actually color codes his. He makes a list, and then he color codes the list, and things that he wants to do more of, he colors green. Things that it's okay, not really thrilled, but it's not bad, are yellow. And the things that he doesn't want to do again are red. And what he said was that, he mentioned this on a call a couple weeks back. He said as he's been doing this for several years, he's finding that more and more his calendar is filled with green than red.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, wow. So because he's been intentional about his reflection, he's doing more and more of what he wants and less of what he doesn't want.
Which is what we all want, right?
Yeah. We all would love to do more of what we enjoy and less of what we don't enjoy.
Yep.
But unless we become intentional about our calendar, about our activities, we're just going to live Groundhog Day over and over and over again and do the same thing. And one of the points that I make in my post was that most people think that experience is the best teacher. It's not.
Right.
Reflective experience is. And unless you reflect on your experience, you don't turn it into insight. Yeah. So that's my whole goal. And the neat part is, you start looking at the year and you reflect on, wow, I had some pretty amazing experiences this year. The other thing that will happen is you start identifying who in your life has been a blessing to you. And then you want to make sure that you make things right with those people. If it's that special someone in your life, you need to take them out to dinner. I'm going to owe my wife a lot more than one dinner for the blessings that she brought to my life. What people coworkers that you've worked with that have really added value into your life, make sure you find a way to thank them. Do something special for them, not spending a bunch of money, but just some way to let them know that you really appreciated what they did. So that's an outgrowth from your reflection. And the other thing is, spend time looking at what worked, what didn't work, and do a lot more of what worked and a lot less of what didn't work.
Right.
So it's simple. It's just you have to make the time to do it. And it's not just going to jump out and bite you and say, hey, here I am, I want to be. No, you have to pull yourself away to do that reflection time.
And I think it's about finding a method that works for you. So that,
exactly.
The picture sorting that you shared probably won't work for everyone.
Right.
That would be a disaster for me, I think.
Yeah.
But for some people it's journaling. For some people it might be getting a vision board going and, or getting a whiteboard out and kind of jotting down lists of, what went well, what didn't go well, and
sure,
all of that. So I think, don't feel like you have to do it one certain way, because there is no right way to do it. It's about just finding the time to do it intentionally and And just slowing down to reflect.
Exactly. And and I'm glad you put there is no right way.
Mm-hmm.
There's no wrong way.
Right.
The only thing that's wrong is if you don't.
Right.
It's just like journaling. Some people say they have to do it with a hard piece of paper and a pen. Other people say no, they can just type it into a keyboard. Well, there are studies that say you remember more, you reflect better if you write, but other people are very digital, and so they want to type it. Some people use really great, I see you carrying around a lot of times your journal with you.
Mm-hmm.
Planner/journal. Other people are carrying an iPad.
Yeah.
Most of the time people will see me with my iPad and not with my daily planner, because my daily planner is a little bigger. So the point is just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Do something. Now, I did make a mistake last year that caused me a little bit of problems. So my family came before Christmas and stayed quite a few days after Christmas, which was great. I never told anybody what I was doing. I just disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
And after the fact, my wife said, "You didn't enjoy having the kids over this year." And I'm like, "Oh, yes, I did."
Mm-hmm.
She goes, "Well, you kept disappearing." So I need to be a bit more intentional and try to say, you know what, I'm just going to be, while the kids are napping or something, I'm going to go do some of my reflection time.
Right.
Just to make sure that people know. I also put some other notes here for myself, that people need to pick the time that works for them. So I'm thinking, you're a young mother with a family and a toddler, and you're going to have to figure out what works for you.
Yep.
I don't have those distractions at home, but I am a morning person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not an evening or an afternoon person. So my ability to think drops off dramatically after, let's say, 2:00, which might not be good that we record these podcasts at 4. But anyways, it explains a lot. At least I have an excuse. Also, think of a place. Mm-hmm. I've heard of people that say they go to Starbucks.
Yep.
To do their reflection, because they can get away and they can think. So just think about when you're most creative, when your mind can really wander and dream type of thing. And that's when you want to spend some time reflecting.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think it all needs to take place at one time.
No, not at all.
Right. So I think about, what I did last year and what I'm probably going to change about that for this year. With my reflection time is that, it's, if you're really digging deep, it can be exhausting. So
right.
Set aside multiple periods of time, I think, or even if it's like, you're going to have 30 minutes, a 30-minute time slot where you don't have anything, go to Starbucks if that works for you, or Barnes & Noble is one of my other favorite places, or something like that. And use that time, because otherwise you'll just waste it, like scrolling through Facebook or answering emails or doing something like that.
And you brought up a really great point there, Marisa. Shut off the digital distractions. Don't just shut them off. And because we all know that once we start down that digital
rabbit hole,
we could come up an hour later. And we've lost the purpose. So shut off the notifications, silence the phone, whatever it takes to. The goal is to just be distraction free. And last year I probably spent, like I said, I spent 8 hours, but not in one sitting. It might have been an hour and a half here, an hour there, and then I was able to kind of digest it all. I am working on a plan that sometime next year I'll roll out, which was, are there ways that you can speed up your year-end reflection? And so it was a program that I was hoping that I could launch this year, but I just didn't have time for it, so we'll put that off to next year. But there are tools that, the more you do it, you find better ways to do it.
Yep.
And just the key is to do it.
Exactly.
So I sent you, I gave you a list of questions, because I actually went online and just looked for reflection questions, and somebody actually had posted 40 reflection questions for looking back and then some for looking forward. Did any of those jump out at you?
I liked, what major goal did you lay the foundations for?
Yeah, isn't that a huge one? That's great.
Because that can tell you a few things. either you have an answer that stands right out to you, or you might need to think a little bit harder and either eventually figure out that you did lay the foundation, or unfortunately, maybe you didn't spend any time on the things that are really important, and you were just kind of focusing on like keeping your head above water. And so that can kind of force you to think like, okay, that is something I want to change for next year, and then maybe reset those goals. I did like that one. That one stood out to me a lot. Let's see. One that I thought was... Go ahead.
I like the one that said, what event, big or small, are you going to tell your grandchildren about?
Yeah, that's sweet.
Now, you can't do that, but...
No.
Well, you could, because it doesn't say you have to tell them now.
Now, right.
It just someday, and so I thought that was really cool, too.
Yeah. One that I thought was funny, what purchase turned out to be the best decision ever?
Yes. Yeah, I thought that was a good one, too.
I know. I'm still trying to decide what that would be.
Yeah, well, I didn't make this purchase this year, but I did last year, and now I have a check engine light on my 2-year-old vehicle, which, anyways, that's one of the reasons why my day was a little more exciting than I would have liked. What new things did you discover about yourself? I thought that was cool. Because, if we're not discovering things about ourselves, then what's the point, right? Yeah. We're just going to be living this Groundhog Day again.
I liked, what 5 people did you most enjoy spending time with?
Yes. Yeah. So then the goal is, if I know these are the 5 people I most enjoyed spending time with, schedule time with them in the new year. And I know we're not going to talk a lot about the new year, but if I don't do it now, I'll forget. The first thing that should go on your calendar for next year is your time with your family. It's not work trips, and I might have some CEOs sending me emails, but block out that time for your family first, because the work will fill in all around it.
Yeah.
And I know that, and I've booked a trip.
So have I. We've both booked our trips.
And I think they're not the same week, but they're back to back.
They're back to back. Yeah.
Yeah. How did your relationship to your family evolve? That was an interesting one. And this one was interesting, too, because, boy, it would take you a lot of reflection. What was the favorite compliment that you received this year?
Yeah, it would take a lot of reflection.
It would, and I think, but as I was going through these are really foundational questions that get to the heart of who we are and who we want to be. Not that we should be fishing for compliments, but what it does is it tells us. So when this episode airs, I think a few days later, we're going to do an intentional living session here at Mackney, and part of that, and we're doing that. I mean, it's probably going to be full by the time this episode airs, but the goal for there was I wanted to do something to give something back to our members, so it was a no cost type of thing. But the focus about that is, what's the story of your life going to be? Because you get to write it. And if we think about that compliment that would mean the most to us is probably going to be an indicator of our why we exist. So that's why I like that one.
Yeah, that's cool.
Trying to look through this list to see if there were others that jumped out at me. What book or movie affected your life in a profound way? And that's a hard one. Like when people say to me, "What was your favorite book?" Like, oh man, what day? But truly, that also will speak into our life and will tell us what's going on. So again, the goal was just reflect. Another thing that I think people need to do is they should spend time after you've done your personal reflection. Spend time, and this is something that I have not done, but I'm going to do this year. And the fact that I'm putting it on a podcast that my family listens to, I'm going to be much more accountable, won't I? But I need to spend some time with my wife reflecting on, looking back at this last year, the same were questions, about our year. Yeah. Based on our relationship, what What went well? What didn't go well? What did we learn? And what are we going to change?
Mm-hmm.
And I already can think of some things that I need to do differently because I'm seeing the effects of my busyness and my activities and how it does affect my relationships with people.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because I think that's so important to include your significant other or even your family. If you have, depending on the age of your children, I guess. But
yes.
Just as important as setting time aside, just like you said, to schedule that on your calendar first. But to think about what are your family values and your family rules, no cell phones at the dinner table, even just simple things like that. And when you can involve the whole family and make it something that everyone agreed on or came to decide together, I think it makes it a lot more fun and holds people a little more accountable instead of mom and dad coming down and saying, okay, we decided here are the rules, and not really involving the kids in the family. So I think that can be a lot of fun too, to set aside. I know just like anyone who has a budget and you and your spouse do a monthly budget meeting, it can be fun. It can be painful, but you can make it fun.
Sure.
Have it be out somewhere. It's best to do some of these things out in public because then, kind of can control someone who might be explosive, but, make it fun, do some reflection time, and then enjoy a glass of wine and dessert together.
Yes, absolutely.
It doesn't have to be painful and boring. It can be a lot of fun.
And, I can hear a couple, bunches of parents saying, wait a minute, I'm not going to let my kids make those decisions. Well, think about a process of leading them to a wise decision.
Mm-hmm.
If we make all the decisions for our kids and they don't see how we came to that conclusion, how will they ever develop the skills to make those decisions for themselves when we're not around?
Right.
So you can just say, okay, this is a situation. This is what I'm thinking. What are your thoughts?
Mm-hmm.
And when you open the door for dialogue, then the family can come together with their own new rules or expectation, that kind of thing is what we're talking about.
Well, and kids are insightful too. So,
Absolutely.
If the parent comes down and says, okay, well, or the family agrees, no technology at the dinner table. Well,
right.
It's not just about the kids doing Instagram or Snapchat or whatever they're doing on their cell phones. It's dad can't take a work call when the phone rings during dinner. So
yes.
When everyone can understand that together and the kids can be part of that and voice their opinion, it can be a really great bonding activity. And everyone's probably shaking their heads she's a toddler, what does she know? But these are things that my family did over time.
Yep.
And
that's great.
And so I can speak from the kids' perspective.
Sure. No, I think that's really important. So the bottom line, folks, reflect. Yep. Take time. It becomes, think about, so people say, I don't want to do that. I don't want to take the time. Well, okay. So do you enjoy reflecting on wonderful trips that you took and vacations that you took? Do you like looking at pictures of things that you enjoy doing? We all do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, don't lose some of those in the chaos of a year that was very, very busy. Go back, re-enjoy them, and identify them so that next year you can do more of them and less of the things that didn't produce the results you were hoping for.
Yep.
It's that simple.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's coming up in your family in the next week or so?
Really not too much. I don't think we have too much going on between now and, Christmas Eve. Just, wrapping, and I'm sure we'll be making cookies and doing that kind of stuff.
Good.
Yeah, how about you?
Well, as I look at the air date for this, it's going to be on the 13th. So the 15th is the Symphoria's Holiday Pops concert.
Oh, right.
And that is one of my favorites. The tickets are purchased. We've got some really nice seats in the balcony level, so I'm excited. I can't wait.
That's great.
And then let's see. So that's Friday. Then Saturday, our church does some caroling, and we go to we do something that I really am glad that we've settled on this. There is a retirement center down the road from our church, and we used to just go caroling there. Well, now we go there and we bring pizza for dinner.
Oh, that's so fun.
For the folks. So rather than just sing and leave, we decided to bring a meal for these folks, and they just, their eyes light up,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it's basically pizza and soda. That's it.
Yep.
And then they bake cookies and things. And we sing a bunch of Christmas carols. And then we sit down and we have a meal with them. And it just is that's what Christmas is all about.
That's awesome.
So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. This is going to happen before this gets aired, but this coming Sunday morning, the firehouse near my house has breakfast with Santa. So before my family and I head off to church, we go there. My grandkids come, we have pancakes, and we support the local fire department.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah, so those are the kind of things, and I'm looking forward to, I'm just loving this time of year and getting excited. I know I'm weird, but getting excited about the time when I can do some really serious reflection.
Yep, that's great.
And, of course, working on the bathroom still.
It'll be done soon.
It'll be done soon. Yes, it will.
Awesome.
So just want to thank everyone for listening. Especially, you know, this 6 months of people listening, that's a lot of loyalty, and we really appreciate that. And the numbers continue to get stronger. So if you can, you know, give us a review, like us on iTunes and Google Play and all of those good things. If you can find us, we actually have an audio that's being broadcast now on YouTube each week. This is the second, this will be the third week that it gets posted on YouTube, but I have no idea how you find it. That's something that our technician did. So
we'll have to find out.
Trying to get it out there. Exactly.
For next time.
So with that, I'm Dave Freund.
I'm Marisa Norcross.
And this was The Next Page.